Hi everyone. Welcome to Re-cognize's business analyst training demo. So today we are going to talk about business analysis, and that drives us to the question as to where did it all start for BA. Now, as we know that BA is was actually a kind of vague term. Like before 2003, everyone used to use the word analysis and business pretty interchangeably. So you had people who would kind of form requirements, or who would define specs, or who would kind of close a project or solve problems. So everything was kind of in a mode where nobody actually knew what frameworks to use or what things to do. So that's when IIBA was started, right around 2003 in Toronto, and primarily because they wanted to define skills and knowledge of BAs, and also put some frameworks to describe the tasks that a typical BA would do. And then very shortly thereafter, the body of knowledge was formed in 2004, and the Business Analysis Book of Knowledge. Its first edition came subsequently in 2005, and second was in 2009. So that drives us to the question as to what is business analysis now? And what does a business analyst do? Just to kind of define overall a very broad definition of business analysis is a set of is the fact that it is a set of tasks and techniques used to work as a bridge among stakeholders to understand structure, policies, operations of an organization, and to enable the organization to achieve its goals. Or in other words, a BA normally helps understand goals and current operations. He or she defines and validates solutions that meet needs and goals. Then the BA analyzes and synthesizes information provided by customers, staff, executives, and stakeholders. And then the BA also serves as a translator between groups by aligning these needs of units with IT capabilities. So it's pretty important. And that brings us to the question of domain. So we'll talk a little bit about what different things are, but the important keyword here is domain. So domain is an area which undergoes analysis. It has some boundaries of organization, and it also shows the interaction with the different key holders of the domain. And then there's another word that's used by BAs quite often. You might have come across the word solutions. Solutions can mean a whole lot, but these three essential points are true for all the solutions in the BA context. A solution is supposed to change an organization's state to meet a need, to meet an unmet need, essentially, to solve a problem, and to take advantage of an opportunity if there's no need or there's no solution needed, but still they want to take advantage of a changed technology or changed industry best practice or something to do with the environment. So this is again another important word that you will come across. And then of course requirements, another keyword. Requirements are those where we see that conditions or capabilities are needed by a stakeholder to solve a problem or achieve an objective. Then a requirement can also be a condition or capability met by a solution to satisfy some form of contract, some standards, or any other thing. It can also be just a documented representation of a condition, like we have feasibility studies. We have all these different things where they kind of define what the current situation is. So we normally talk about four different types of requirements: business requirement, stakeholder requirement, solution requirement, and transition requirement. So let's see what these four different requirements are. Business requirements are typically higher level goals, objectives, needs, things like why a project has been initiated or what are the success metrics. So these things are answered, and these are usually developed during the enterprise analysis. Now, stakeholder requirements are similarly geared towards the stakeholders' needs, and it's developed during requirements analysis. While solution requirements are those which kind of meet these two other requirements, like the business that we talked about and the stakeholder requirements, and it's developed during requirements analysis, and it kind of does a little bit of classifying the requirements into functional, which are more behavior and information oriented, and non-functional requirements. And then transition requirements. Transition requirements are those which facilitate transition from the current state to the desired state, or from the as is condition to the to be condition. So anything that are needed, like data conversion, data migration, other such smaller requirements, are generally referred to as transition requirements. Now that brings us to another important thing, and which is the whole framework of business analysis. So everything revolves around these things. As you can see, you have business analysis planning and monitoring. Then you have, that's when you design the business analysis, you plan, you kind of monitor, you have some procedures, you have some processes during this time. Then there's another important thing called elicitation, where you connect with the stakeholders, find out information about what's going on. Then we have requirements management and communication, where you communicate, where you gather requirements. And of course, the inner box, you can see the three things: enterprise analysis, requirements analysis, and then solution assessment and validation. So these two we already discussed briefly: enterprise analysis and requirements analysis. And then solution assessment is once you have the solution, you kind of validate based on the other two key things, the enterprise as well as requirements analyses. So, and then you have finally that underlying competencies box, which talks about whether the company, whether a solution is affable to the company, if the company can really support with their existing environment the new things. So that's another important thing. And like we discussed, these are the 7 things. You have business analysis planning, you have elicitation, requirements management communication, enterprise analysis, requirements analysis, solution assessment and validation, and underlying competences. And that draws us to this page, which talks about the techniques. BA is all about techniques. So we'll discuss these things in much more detail. We'll talk about acceptance and evaluation criteria definition. We'll talk about brainstorming requirements workshop. We'll talk about business rules analysis, data dictionary and data flow diagram, data modeling, decision analysis and document analysis. We'll talk about interviews, we'll talk about metrics and key performance indicators. We'll talk about non-functional requirements analysis. We'll talk about organizational modeling, problem tracking, process modeling, scenarios, and use cases. So all these things will be covered during the course. And just to wrap up this, our website is www.re-cognize.com. So it's re-cognize.com, or you can email us at info@re-cognize.com, or you can call us at 310-780-8642, 310-780-8642. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in our class.